Okay, let's talk about that moment. You know the one. You're standing in a room, maybe the spare bedroom or the garage. You look at all the stuff you've collected over the years and you just feel tired. Just thinking about where to even start is completely exhausting. Well, if that's you, you're in the right place. Today, we're going to figure out how to do this without all that stress. Right? This is the million-dollar question. It's the one that stops so many people dead in their tracks. The idea of downsizing, it sounds so practical, so smart, but then you're faced with the reality of it all. Closets and drawers and boxes just full of, well, full of life. And suddenly, that simple plan feels like a totally impossible task. If this quote right here hits home for you, I just want you to know you are not alone, not even close. It's completely normal to feel this way because we're not just sorting through stuff, are we? We're sorting through memories and family history and whole chapters of our lives. So yeah, of course it feels like a mountain. But here's the good news. You don't have to climb it all in one go. So here's our game plan. Think of this as the map we're going to use to break that mountain down into small, totally manageable little hills. First, we'll get a handle on why it feels so overwhelming. Then, we'll focus on getting one small win under our belt to build some momentum. After that, we'll grab a super simple toolkit, talk about how to handle the emotional side of things, and finally, lock in on the real prize, creating an easier future for yourself. So what exactly is this downsizing mountain? Well, it's that feeling of just being frozen. It's what happens when you try to solve the entire house in your head all at once. You start thinking about every room, every closet, every single little decision you have to make, and your brain just goes, nope, and shuts down. It's a totally natural response to being completely and utterly overwhelmed. So if the problem is thinking way too big, the solution isn't to try and work harder. The secret is to think smaller, way, way smaller. We have to shift our entire perspective from this huge, scary mountain to just taking one single, easy step. This is probably the most important idea we're going to talk about today. Right now, your goal is not to clear out the entire attic. Your goal is simply to prove to yourself that you can make one decision without it being a huge drama. So you got to start easy. I'm talking about a junk drawer in the bathroom, or the linen closet, or maybe that one nightstand. The only thing you're trying to do is get that first small win. That's what builds the momentum you need for the next step. And sometimes just changing the words you use can change everything. Asking yourself, how in the world am I going to get rid of everything? That's a recipe for instant stress. But what if you ask this instead? What's the next small category I can make simpler? Maybe it's old towels or coffee mugs you don't use. See, that's a question you can actually answer. It turns one giant, scary problem into a whole bunch of small, solvable ones. All right, so you've picked your small spot, you're asking the right question. Now what do you do with this stuff? You need a toolkit, and this is key, not a complicated one. Forget about those fancy 10-tab binders or complex color-coded sticker systems. Honestly, that stuff just makes it harder. All you really need are a few clear buckets for your decisions. It really can be this simple. 4 piles: keep, donate, give, and discard. That's it. We only use 4 because the more choices you give yourself, the slower you go. A simple system is just easier to stick with, and that means you're much more likely to keep going instead of getting exhausted and just giving up. And this brings us to something really important. It's called decision fatigue. It's a real thing. Downsizing is so mentally tiring because you're making hundreds, maybe thousands of tiny little choices. Keep or go. Where should it go? And that's exactly why a super focused 20-minute session can actually get more done than an 8-hour marathon that just leaves you feeling totally wiped out and frustrated. I absolutely love this. Stopping before you're completely exhausted isn't failing. It's not quitting. It's strategy. It's pacing yourself. It's recognizing that this whole thing is a marathon, not a sprint. Honestly, pacing yourself is the smartest possible thing you can do to make sure you actually finish. It's all about working smart, not just hard. Okay, now we need to get to the real heart of it all, because we both know this isn't really about old kitchen gadgets or coats you haven't worn in years. The real weight, the real reason this is so hard, comes from the fear that if we let go of an object, we're somehow letting go of the person or the memory that's attached to it. And this is where we have to be really, really gentle with ourselves. Let this one sink in for a second. Your memories don't live in a thing. They live in you. The meaning doesn't just vanish when the item is gone. Sometimes just taking a quick photo of the item is enough to keep that memory close. Or sometimes passing it on to a family member who will truly cherish it is the most perfect way to honor it. The point is, you get to decide how to keep that meaning alive. And let's just talk about the elephant in the room, shall we? Guilt. Guilt takes up so much space in our homes, both physical space and emotional space. We keep things we don't even like or use just because we feel we have to. But your home is supposed to be for you, for your life now. It's not meant to be a storage unit for old obligations. So when you get stuck on an item, when you're just paralyzed, I want you to ask yourself this one powerful question. Don't ask, did I love this once or was this expensive? Ask this, does it still belong in the life ahead? This question is like a magic wand. It immediately shifts your focus from the past to the future you're trying to build for yourself, and it brings so much clarity. And that leads us perfectly into this last idea. Let's totally reframe what this project is all about. This is not about loss. This is not an exercise in getting rid of things. Downsizing is a positive, powerful, proactive step you are taking to create a lighter, easier, and more joyful life for your future self. The real goal here is one word, ease. And when you focus on that, on making your day-to-day life easier, on having less to clean, less to maintain, less to worry about, the whole process starts to feel like a gain, not a loss. Every single item you decide to let go of isn't something you're losing. It's a little piece of lightness and freedom that you're gaining. So here it is, your whole action plan, all right here. Number 1, pick one tiny area. Number 2, set a timer, maybe for just 20 or 30 minutes. 3, use those 4 simple categories. Keep, donate, give, discard. 4, stop while you still feel good about it. And 5, tomorrow or maybe the day after, just do it again. This is it. This is how you climb that mountain, one single manageable step at a time. And let's end right here. The pressure to get it all done and to get it done fast, that's what creates all the stress in the first place. So let's just take all that pressure off. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to block off a whole weekend. All you need is the courage to just begin. One drawer, one shelf, one small step. That very first step is always the hardest, and it's also by far the most powerful. You can do this.